Okay, so tonight I wanted to do a check-in of your designs because we are kind of I think hitting our threshold for the week. I think we're about 1 week over if I look at the schedule. So let me go ahead and kind of pull it up on Canvas. And this is typically normal too when it comes to scheduling. Whenever we do our latest project, this particular project, it's definitely a little bit of a stretch for everybody because we're going deeper and actually like getting into the design aspects and breaking down principles of design and everything of that sort. So if I just look at the schedule really quick and kind of break it down, we got, let's take a look under orientation. Okay, let's go ahead and open that up. And we have welcome to class. And there we have like our class project here, which is our course projects description and for fall 2021. And looking at the project timeline, we still got a couple more projects left over in the class. We're here at number 5, which is the t-shirt graphics and production side of it. So we've done a lot during that time frame, which is really cool. And we are here at number 5, green t-shirt and production. And I always get a little bit worried because then I look at the schedule and I'm like, okay, are we on target? Are we off target on the time? But in the end, it's fine. We always end up making up the time there. And let's take a peek here. So we're at the beginning of November there. So today is the 2nd. And basically we got on the 25th, Thanksgiving off, right? So that particular week, we do meet on the 23rd, which is on that Tuesday, but on the Thursday, the 25th, we do not meet, okay, for this month. And then after Thanksgiving on the 30th, we do connect. And then basically after that, we have finals right at the beginning of December. So 30 days from today, we're basically on our finals day. And so we will be pushing things along. So we don't have that much time really left over. There's a lot going on. And yeah, we're a little bit behind when it comes to the minimalist poster, but I'm very confident that we'll get it caught up there. Because if we split it up in the month with minimalist and logo, we should be on time for finals and getting that going for portfolio. And portfolio can actually get pushed off towards finals because the final portfolio is basically a Google Slides template where you kind of fill in your designs. So you could literally do that in like a day to put that all together, okay? So, so this is kind of like our final stretch. 2 more projects left, minimalist poster and logo project. And then we do our portfolio and then we're set, we are done. So the time's gonna fly super quick and before you know it, it'll be done. So it'll be Christmas break after that, which is wild if you think about it because we've gone through so much within the last few weeks that you guys can basically tell me how does it feel, because you guys done so much and I really am picking up that you guys feel pretty comfortable or I definitely felt a lot more comfortable using the program the more and more we get into it. So and you guys have picked it up really quickly that I am super proud of the work that we've done and how much we've gone throughout this point. So good job. I applaud you guys. You guys are doing an excellent job, and it is super exciting to see you guys like just hustle and put it all together. So I definitely applaud you guys for that, and you definitely should give yourself a big tap on the back on that one, big pat on the back, or tell somebody to hug you. I don't know. because you've done a lot, and just, and just by your own testimonies and by your own show of thumbs out there, I mean, I'm hoping that you guys feel really comfortable, really good about all the work that you have accomplished and put out there. So if you're feeling like pretty good and you're getting a grasp, then that's how you should feel. Okay. So well done, guys, and you're doing a really, really excellent job. So I'm proud of every one of you guys for all that you're doing. So make sure you take a little bit of time to celebrate and just and look at it, because we're almost there. Okay. All right. So that being said, hopefully for tonight, what I would love to do is check in on your designs and see where everybody's at. Okay. Last Tuesday, I ran through that lesson, pre-recorded lesson. So did that work for you guys? And did that make sense to you overall with, getting the graphic in, putting in some typography, putting it onto your t-shirt templates? I see if, James, I see like you got some things going on in the background there on your screen, which is great. So tonight I want to take a closer look at your designs and as a class, give you guys some feedback, okay? So how many, just a show of thumbs, how many of you guys have at least one completed design? I mean, just basically one design on a screen. If you have more, great. If you don't worry, as long as we have one, okay? We're gonna need to see it regardless, okay? So we gotta see it because we gotta move forward on our projects, okay? So we're gonna take a look at those designs starting tonight, and we're gonna see it as a class. So we're gonna have a critique this evening, and we're basically gonna jump in and do a file share using your Adobe Creative Cloud systems, okay? So I'm gonna walk you through that, okay? And I'm gonna open up my Adobe Illustrator program. Basically what's gonna happen is that before I give you the step-by-step instructions, is that you're basically gonna share with me your file via the cloud with my email. And as soon as you share it with me through your Adobe Illustrator, then I will get a notification saying this file has been shared, and I'll basically be able to see it on my desktop in about 5 minutes. So once we get all the files shared, okay? So we're gonna do that. It's gonna help too, because I'll be able to download files on my computer and basically talk to you about it rather than go through the steps of sharing your screens and things like that. So it goes a little bit faster on my end, okay? So, and it's a pretty cool feature to have. So if you have one, great. If you have more than one, no problem. We're gonna basically kind of take it from there, get some sharing done. And then for the second half of class, or towards the end, my hope is that we can get to talk about the minimalist poster and kind of move on and start moving forward from there, because the minimalist poster is going to require you guys to basically watch 3 different short films. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes. And you're going to decide which film you want to design like this imaginary movie poster for. And you're going to use Connor's actually favorite designer, Saul Bass. You're going to use Saul Bass's sort of design of style over substance, or style as substance, as he termed it. And we're going to dive into that world and take a look at it. Okay. And and that's basically part of this plan of like going less to bare single mark with the logo. So the premise of the class is, how can I communicate with a lot of graphics, with some graphics, to literally no graphic or one graphic. And that's where I'm sort of filtering you down. So I'm actually constraining the project more and more and more, so that towards the end, when we get to the logo, that's actually the final project, not the first project. So the first project is going to be a logo that is the most symbolic graphic that you can come to in one image. Okay. And that's actually, in my opinion, what makes a really good designer, is that if you can communicate in one image, then multiple meanings in a single mark or image, to me, that's at the heart of like a really good designer at the end of the day, right? Because then you can kind of scale up from there. It's like, if I can communicate with one marker image, and then I can do it with multiple images. So that's what we're doing. So we're kind of slowly filtering you down to the single mark project, or the logo project. Okay. And then everyone will have that logo available to them. And we're basically going to build your own personal logo, or your own imaginary company, or your actual company, or your future company. Whatever the case, everyone's going to walk away with their own personalized identity or corporate identity in the course. So it's going to be like boom, boom, boom. It's going to be pretty fast paced from here on in. Okay. All right. So I'm going to switch over to Adobe Illustrator. I hope you guys got a chance to watch some of the Adobe Max presentations that are out there. I still got to get you guys I still have to make the posting. Forgive me. I still have to create that extra credit posting for those folks that caught the Adobe Max. So I'll get some time to do that, hopefully tonight. If not tonight, then by tomorrow morning. So then that way you can get some credit for watching those presentations. So hopefully you got a chance to watch it. I got a chance to sneak a couple of views, and it's still online right now. And it'll be really cool once we kind of get going there. So hopefully you got a chance to go check it out and you got a chance to be inspired by that. Okay, so let's go to Adobe Illustrator. All right, and let's take a look. So then, and then James, I'm gonna open up the single file that I kind of created. So it's not your actual file, but I'll just use it as a demo because I know I used it as a demonstration to create fonts and download fonts and things like that. So I know that's not your actual file, but I'm just gonna use it as an example for tonight, okay? Okay, so here's how we're gonna do this. Take a moment to open up your files, okay? Hopefully they're on screen. So we'll open up Adobe Illustrator. And in Adobe Illustrator, what we're gonna do is we are going to look for where the red arrow is pointing, a circle with an icon image of like what looks like a person and a plus sign. Okay. And you're going to click onto it. That's your shared document button. You're going to click onto it. And in the shared document file, you're basically going to share that document with me. And this was actually, I think, I shared it with Laker. I think that's what it was. Or I have one file shared with it. So you should see this where it says share document. And as a matter of fact, it might be giving you an extra screen. So let me actually open up a new document just to make sure I'm not missing out the extra screen. I think one is to open up share document as a feature. So let me go ahead and take a quick second to create and make sure. Yes, so you're actually gonna get a first image here. Let me move it off to the side. And hopefully it's popping up on your screen here. So you should see a save as a cloud document to share. First save your work as a cloud document, and then it will give you access to it, okay? So we're gonna click continue for that. And then whatever the file name currently is, you're basically going to see these Creative Cloud window pop up, right? The Creative Cloud window is basically your cloud folder. Now I have files from my iPad and other things, but yours is technically blank, and it's pretty much ready to save into the cloud. Okay, you could save this under your first and last name, shirt design. So then that way I can identify whose file is who. Okay. Okay. And then once you have that, you can click the save button on the lower right. And what you're going to notice after you save, okay, is that you should see on the upper left-hand side in front of your name, this little cloud symbol. Okay, looks like a little cloud in the sky. And that little icon, that little cloud symbol basically means that your file is saved in that system, okay, in the cloud. But we're not done quite just yet. You still have to share it with me, right? Because you can save files in the cloud and go to any computer with Adobe Illustrator and log in to your account, which is using your Rio Hondo email. And from when you log in, you can basically download from any from anywhere, basically, from any computer onto that Adobe Illustrator program, your files. So it's kind of like Google Drive, right? So it's like basically Adobe's version of Google Drive, and it saves it in their cloud storage system. Okay, so it's great because then you don't have to carry a jump drive or anything of that sort, and you can log into any system. As long as you download the application onto that computer that you're working on and it's in there and you know it's in there, then you can technically open it once you log in with your account. Okay, so now we're going to share with me your file, and we're basically going to click that icon a second time, and this time I'm going to put my high school email or my private school email address, since basically that's the one that's currently open and has greater access privileges. But you're basically going to enter this email. Hopefully you see it on screen, and I'll put it into the chat as well because it has an underscore. But you're basically going to type in m_almena at mhs-hs.org. Let me put it up on screen. But before I do, let me go ahead and put it into the chat for everyone. Here it is. And here it is on screen. So you can copy and paste from the chat if you wish. m_almena at mhs-hs.org. Okay. And it'll basically invite me into the system. Okay. And then once you're complete, you can type in the chat that it's in. I'm already getting a couple of notifications saying people have sent in. So I got Alexis, Andrew, is showing up in the system there. I'm slowly getting a couple of notifications as it's coming in. Kaiser, I got you. In my system, it says here. Okay, Sylvia, I got a notification as well. Okay, Dominic, I got a notification on your end as well. So whenever you share a document, then Creative Cloud gives you like a little pop-up on your computer saying you shared it. So Philip, I see yours, invitation as well. It's called a collaboration invitation. And it pops up on screen so you can see it, okay? So anytime you're working on a project and let's say your friend or classmate or partner or whomever has Adobe Illustrator or Adobe, just an account with Adobe, whether it's free or paid, then they'll be able to see that file when you share it with them by email. And then I also get an email notification saying that someone has shared it with me. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of open up my screen. And when I open up my Creative Cloud, I'm gonna open up my Creative Cloud app. And let me go ahead and switch that over here. Move that over there. And mobile, web, desktop. Okay, support. Okay, see if I can open up my file apps over here. Okay, and libraries, and okay, Nydia, I see you on my file as well. Oh, okay, no worries. And I got your invitation there too, Connor, so I'll pull that up in just a couple of seconds as well. Set it up. Okay, so let me go ahead and kind of share and show you through that. Laker, I got yours too. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen with the Creative Cloud management system or application. So when you open up your Creative Cloud app, basically you see your all app invitation here, right? And it shows you all the categories, all the systems, all the files, everything of that sort, right? I get these notifications on the upper right-hand side. And let's see if I can annotate it over there really quick. But basically over here on the upper right-hand side, it's letting me know that I'm getting these notifications. Notifications is basically saying that all these folks are sending me files and invitations, which is you. So I see that in red, okay? And then on the right, it tells me that I have about 4 gigabytes of cloud storage overall available, and 2.9 gigabytes used of files that I've saved in there. So, so it tells me how much I have stored or available in the cloud using an enterprise account. Okay. So hopefully you should have something similar to that. I think it's I believe it might be up to 4 gigabytes, give or take, on the enterprise account. So that's pretty much having like a 4 gig hard drive or 4 gig setup. Now, if it's less, let me know. I could be mistaken for student account versus teacher account, but that's the amount of storage that is available for the cloud. Okay, so that's free storage. That's like Google Drive, or that's like having a second Google Drive specifically for Adobe products. Okay. Okay. Now, to pull up my discovery, I'm gonna basically click onto files here on the upper left-hand side, because these are all different tabs. And if I click onto files where it's pointing in red, these are my files that I have saved into my account. Okay, and so those files are my files. It says right here, your files. So pretty straightforward there. The ones that I'm about to see with you as a class is over here in the second arrow where it says shared with you. Okay, and so 100 gigabytes. Holy cow, that's pretty good, James. So that's a lot of cloud storage for you guys. I'm the one with the less. That's hilarious. Does everyone else have about 100 gigs on average? If it does, you can email a thumbs up emoji. But if you're at 100, then God bless you guys. Cool. All right. So you got a lot of storage. Okay, that's a ton. I have 4 gigs. How do I have 4 gigs? You guys have 100 gigabytes. Okay. Anyways, so yeah. So when I click onto the second arrow, it says shared with you, I can preview and see all your files shared with me instantly, right? So that's pretty cool. So I like that. That's always nice to have. And every time you guys make an update, I see it in real time. So I can actually see updates being made to your shirts. And so this is great for teachers on the cloud, because students think like, oh, well, professor, yeah, I'm working on it. I'm like, okay, well, share it with me right now. Oh, man. And so it's definitely a great accountability tool as a teacher, as well as a great collaboration tool. But it's for you guys, it's collaboration. For teachers, it's accountability, and it's great, right? On the right-hand side, that third arrow pointing to the right, I can actually go to my Creative Cloud web portal, and it'll basically open up a web portal with the same files on hand. So I'm going to click onto that, open it up, and then share, give you a view of what that looks like. And then that way you can kind of see it as well on my Creative Cloud. And again, the reason I'm sharing this with you guys is that when we do the next project, which is the minimalist poster, we'll basically create a Creative Cloud file. You'll be designing into it, and I'll be able to see and check in and follow those formats on your files. So that's always kind of nice to have. And even on the latest version of Adobe's 2022 version, you could even make comments as kind of like Google Drive does, where you can actually make comments in real time and take a closer look at things. So let me switch over to Creative Cloud so you can take a peek at it. And let's see if I can actually click onto a file here. And right-hand side, I can hit preview, and I can preview your file. Lovely. Okay. Good to know. So I'll show you the web version before I go into the preview version here in my Creative Cloud. But that button I pushed in the Creative Cloud app was a preview button. So, and I'll show you that first before anything. So the preview button is over here, where the new red arrow is pointing to. And anytime I want to preview your design a little bit more closely, it looks like sort of like a web app with a magnifying glass. When I click onto that, then I can see your design a little bit more closely, and I can even zoom in on it to get a little bit more of a detail and a visual. So that's pretty cool. That's really nice to have, to be able to see this. And if I want to open the file, then right above that particular button is an open file, and I can open it, which means it'll download to my computer and open in Adobe Illustrator. Okay, so that's kind of nice to have. And that's a nice feature to have overall in the system. And I can go to the next page and take a look at the next file, and I can zoom in onto those files and kind of give you guys commentary about those files. So we'll be using a little bit of that tonight. And if I wanted to make a change, I could download it, okay? I'll show you the web version, because when I click onto the web version of the file, then it'll basically open a very similar format in Google Chrome. Here it is right now. So looks very similar, right? And in this one, if I wanted to take a closer look at a design, I can click onto it. And on the web version, I can actually leave comments. So you'll notice on the right-hand side, it says here, write a comment. I can write comments, submit it, and we can go back and forth and basically share that commentary, okay? And you guys have that access as well. If you go to assets.adobe.com, and I'll put that into the chat here, you could see that under assets.adobe.com. It'll basically ask you for your login, which technically should be there. And you can see those files that you're sharing in real time or on your Creative Cloud app. So that's pretty cool when you see that in action at the end of the day, which is fantastic, okay? And you can still zoom in and make commentary, and I could still download it and open it in Illustrator. So I feel it goes a little bit faster through the web app. So we'll use that for tonight. And if you guys want to leave some commentary, go for it. We'll take a look at it. But I think it's really awesome that we get a chance to do it. Oh, and I sent it to Connor directly. So excuse me, Connor, if you're like the only one that got the assets file. So here it is. That's for everybody. So that's available for you there too. Okay. And then I got yours, Connor. So I'll put that off to the side in just a second so we can take a look at that too, and see that there. Okay. Does that kind of make sense with everyone, and kind of help? And if it does, you can give me a little thumbs up emoji. I love Creative Cloud. I love how they're making things more cloud-based. And if you get the Adobe iPad app, the Illustrator app, which I believe is for free, and use your Rio Hondo email, then all those files on the iPad automatically get stored to the cloud. So everything is viewable through your desktop and the iPad at the same time, which is awesome. So if you have an iPad, or if you're planning to get an iPad with an Apple Pencil, then you could technically do all your drawings in Adobe Illustrator using the Apple Pencil, and open it up in your Creative Cloud desktop version, all within the same app, all seamlessly connected, nothing. And when you save on the desktop, it automatically saves to the iPad. Everything is interconnected really, really intimately, and that's so cool. So I love that, and that's new. That launched last October, so a year ago, last week actually, and that was a game changer. Finally, Adobe got caught up and made things a lot more interchangeable in the cloud. So that's like the big news there. Okay. All right. So I'm happy to get to share that a little bit with you, so that we can work a little bit more efficiently overall. Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump into it. And we'll kind of pull back for just a second over here. So I should have everybody's file share with me, okay? And if there's any comments or remarks, I'm just gonna kind of shoot it over. For this assignment, really all you need is one good one. If you got more than one, then we'll use all three of them. But just what I'm seeing here, I think we got some really good ones overall that we can pull. And I think we're ready to even begin the next assignment with some comments after tonight, okay? So we'll be on track at the end of the day. So these are looking pretty good on the preview side, and we will jump in. So I'll go in order. I don't want to put Kaiser on the spot. So we'll just go in order based off the upper left-hand side of recent. So Sylvia, it looks like that's yours, okay? But let's jump in and we'll get you set up there, okay? And so, so this is Sylvia's, guys, okay? Feel free to comment, or you can voice in things that you're looking. And Sylvia, hopefully you can hear us. So feel free to make a response there. So there you are. Okay. So first of all, I think it's looking really good. So good job on that. Okay. And if you guys have comments, feel free. You can always make suggestions. Okay. It's all positive here. But I would say, Sylvia, that your color options are really good. I really like your pastels. It's great. Okay. And I'm like, now I have to like kind of take it in because I'm wondering which colorway is the nicest one. And which one do you like? Or what's your favorite, Sylvia, for your color option? You got to pick the one.
Yeah, I think personally I would probably wear like the blue one more. If I did, if those were like real like clothing I could pick, I'd probably pick like the blue.
So the second option right here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I like all the color options are good. I think it's a personal preference thing at this point, right?
Yeah.
So I could see blue and pink being a potential option for your designs. And it varies from everyone there. And maybe if you guys want to vote in, you can. Which one is your favorite? You can type in blue or you can type in the pink one. But I would say for your portfolio, right? Go with your. I would say definitely show probably all 3 color options, 2 to 3, because when you're showcasing this in your portfolio, it's a nice example of color options. I would say 2 is great. Because 2 at least suggests like I have 2 color options, and I can understand color a little bit better overall. So I think either a color option would work best, and so that's looking really nice. I like the fact that you scaled it really well, and I do remember I mentioned that in the video, like 4 inches from the neckline is considered like the hit area for a t-shirt. So thank you for doing that. But that looks pretty good. So like that position looks like a natural position for a t-shirt. I can imagine it close to the real thing. It looks like a nice mock-up. It looks like a professional mock-up of a t-shirt design. If I was going to show this to a buyer, to a manager at a Disney, to any other person that works in consumer products, for fashion, it's good. It actually feels like the scaling's right, the color's right, the detailing's right, the art's right. Like I feel good about it. So overall, I think it's a win-win, and I'm glad you got a little bit of a chance to work with the shading too. And I'm glad you also played with the shading as well and darkened those shade areas in the t-shirt, because even if a t-shirt template is off or doesn't look quite right, that could be a distraction to the final artwork. So so to me, that's feeling pretty good to me. Okay. Yeah. I think it's great. I think you've made good choices. We talked about the artwork last time, and this is a nice presentation. So as I'm sure the class would agree that when you see it kind of finalized on a t-shirt, it gives you almost like little to no like chance to like not imagine what it would look like finalized. Like it looks like, oh, I can see this on like a shirt that I would buy. So, or I could see this as a shirt that I would or would not buy, If this was a Photoshop class, let's say we were doing like an advanced level, Photoshop, and I knew like you guys had Photoshop experience, then we would even take this graphic and superimpose it and layer it over an actual t-shirt template. So an actual photograph of a shirt and manipulate it and overlap it onto a shirt. And we would even take it a step further and do it to that level, So, right. So, this class doesn't require prior knowledge, but let's say I was teaching an advanced level Illustrator class where I knew you guys had some Photoshop experience, then we would take it to that level if we wanted to.
Right.
And which you could totally open your graphic up in Photoshop, and then you can put it that way too. Okay. But I think it looks great. I don't have too many comments about it, to be honest with you. Scaling's good. Everything's feeling good. You did a great job. So well done. So, the pink works really good too. I mean, I think if I had to get really detailed, I like pink, right? I grew up in the 80s. So I do like kind of like pink washed out kind of shirts, So I'm cool with that, and I like that. I'm comfortable with that. So I can even see myself rocking those colorways as well. So definitely feeling like fashion era, vintagey, pushing it to that level. Yeah, well done. Looks good. And I'm also glad that was your second and third option, because I'm a big believer that the first design is always like I'm figuring it out. And then when you get to your second and your third, it actually starts to be an improvement. So I know some teachers are like that, oh, just do it on the one. But as you saw in the video, I'm a big believer in like 2 or 3 on a screen. So because that first one is kind of like I'm just thinking about it out loud, in other words. And that second and third one is like, okay, now I'm gonna commit. And so almost 90% of the time, students are like, the second and the third ones are actually well, we'll see tonight if the second and third ones are actually the better ones. So we'll take a vote this evening, and we'll see, and we'll see it ourselves. Okay, well done. It looks good. I feel it, and it looks great. So big thumbs up to you on that. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
All right, looks good. All right, let's keep it going, guys. Let's take a look. And oh, I got a shirt that popped up here, but I don't know who is this. So let me go ahead and open this up. I'm gonna have to look at my commentator here. And who could it be? Let's see. Okay, definitely don't know who this is. So let's see. Anyone want to make a claim for the design before I set it up here? Takers. I can probably take a look at my shared file really quick and see who is last to share. Curious. Let's see. Oh, okay, let's take a look. Nydia, is this yours? Any chance? Is Nydia here? T-shirt template, edited. No, that's not. Nydia, I have your name on it. T-shirt. Ooh. Andrew, this is yours, Andrew. Andrew, are you there? Oh, okay, Andrew, can you hear us? Is this yours? I see a teacher project _ No, that's not. T-shirt design. Angel, there you are. You put it in 21 minutes ago. Okay. So Angel, are you there, Angel? Can you hear us? You give me a thumbs up, or you can type it in the chat. Oh, I can't hear him. Can you guys hear him? On there? Angel, is your... Okay, now we heard you. Try one more time, Angel. Yeah. No, I can't hear you. No one can hear him?
No.
Now I hear you. Okay.
No, that was me. That's me.
Oh, no, that's
James.
That's James. Okay, so Angel, okay, so no worries. Angel, you can give us a thumbs up if you can hear us, and I will give you some comments. You can type it in the chat. Okay. Yeah, sorry to put you on the spot, but we just want to make sure that you can hear us, and then we'll get some commentary there. Okay. Okay, so it's probably your microphone. So during the break, then we could try to restart it and then see if that goes through. Okay. Yeah, because we can't hear you on it there. So let me go ahead and just kind of jump in really quick. Now I'm very tempted to open this up in Illustrator, because the big question is the graphic in the background. Okay. So while I'm talking about it, I'm gonna kind of launch my Illustrator and pull it in the background. So let me go ahead and run it in the background so I can pull it up. So we'll set it up. Okay. So because I have questions about the original drawing and where that's coming from, and I'll make a copy so then that way we can see it there. Okay. So a couple of things. First of all, is which one is your favorite, Angel? Is it the first, starting from the top, first one, second one, the middle one, or the third one on the bottom? Which one is like your favorite? Is the first question your third one? Okay, so the first one, second one, and then like the third one there. Okay. And the third one is right there. Okay, so we'll talk about this one for a second. Now it looks like we changed some colors on Mickey. We have some shades on Mickey as well. So if I had to zoom in over here, it looks like we got a couple of images going on in the background. So we got some shades on Mickey, and we got a vehicle and a background in there. Okay, now tell us a little bit about that background. Sourced, Vecteezy download, or a redraw? Kind of curious where that background came from, since this technically is the first time we're seeing it. And while you're doing that, I'm going to move my window to the bigger screen over here so I can kind of see it in the background, and pull that up. And then I'm going to try to see if I can pull this up really quick. Document, replace the fonts. Vecteezy. Okay, so that's a Vecteezy background that you pulled in right there. Okay, so let's take a look here. And let me see if I can retrieve and open that up. Okay, so it's a cool background, and it looks like you pulled it open and made a couple of edits to it as well. And I'm also trying to see if I can click onto it with my Adobe. I think we heard you there.
Hello?
Okay, now we're starting to hear you.
Hello?
Now, okay, we hear you now. Okay, can you hear us?
It's not that good, huh?
It's wait, the sound?
Yeah? No, me speaking.
Let me take a look here. I'm gonna pause this. It's a little low, but I can still hear you. Okay, so we'll talk about this really quick, and then we'll set you up here. Okay, and I'm gonna switch over to Adobe Illustrator so we can get a couple of comments here. Okay, so here we are in Adobe Illustrator. Okay, and the first thing I'm noticing is that, yeah, that is a Vecteezy background. So I go into outline mode. So that's the car that's being placed there. I think the font here is not available, but I see it here. The first thing I'll say is the T-shirt. Is it meant to? The question is it meant to be a purple, where the shadows are technically going to be darker than the purple, right? So meaning it's originally a purple shirt where it's a little bit more black in the shadow area, which is a little bit more closer to this, because the shadows are technically like just a darker shade of the base of the shirt, which is your what looks to be like the original purple.
Yeah, I just thought it looked cool.
Okay. Oh, no worries. On it there. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Okay. So that would make that shirt that design, right? And the other thing is, when I'm looking at it, okay, we'll go down our principles, right? Do we have a framing device? Yes, we do have a framing device, which is the square. The square is creating this impression of a framing device around that. We have a focal point Mickey. We got a middle ground, background, foreground, which is Mickey foreground, middle ground of the car, background is the pattern design happening there. Okay, framing element is going on. We do have some, what looks like almost an odd number of swirls, lines happening within that background, things of that sort, right? So you're hitting all those markers. I think for me, the question is the color options. Because with the car and the backgrounds, we see a lot of like neons, like neon pink and purples happening in there. And we want to echo the color or echo the art style from that background a little bit more onto Mickey, if that makes sense. So my first impression is like, oh, can we echo the art style a little bit onto Mickey, onto Mickey's outfit? Meaning, and and my monitor here might be having some color issues. So hopefully it's showing up in the true color option that we're selecting. But that's like the first thing that's on my mind. It's like, oh, like does Mickey's outfit, could we potentially change the color of the outfit to kind of match that? And let's take a look here and see what that artwork layer looks like. Okay, and are these locked in by any chance?
Do I have to unlock them?
Oh, we can hear you. One more time.
Do I have to unlock them?
Well, I made a copy, so you don't have to.
Oh,
So I made a copy of the original file. And I think the question is the Mickey artwork in general, is that locked into the t-shirt itself
no, it's in the artwork layer. I'm pretty sure.
with the artwork layer, right?
Yeah, because I did that design in another tab and I just like dragged it into there.
Okay, let's take a look. Okay, there it is. Okay, perfect. So that would be my first my first sort of instinct. It's like, oh, could we kind of try to get Mickey to echo a little bit of those colors a little bit more? That was kind of like my thought about that. It's like, oh, can we, let me see if I can put it onto the MacBook instead here. Whether it's like the red coming in from the pants there. Where are you? Lock those layers in. And so, and if I use like the eyedropper tool, right? Just to kind of echo the art style a little bit more, I'm kind of thinking closer to like the original sort of outfit there. So I agree with like a little bit of the blues happening there, but I'm thinking like closer, brighter colors to kind of match the art style of the car. And I think we saw a little bit of that. Oh, that's right, because they're mostly like the same when it comes to the artwork. So I think that's the first thing I'm noticing is like the color options, and the boots could also potentially be maybe even a little bit brighter. But are the shades in their own artwork layer? Almost looks like it is. So I'm thinking that, let's see. So redo laser, redo eyedropper. So, or even a little bit closer to the purples that are happening within the car. That's kind of my impression on that. So the neons, a little bit more of a brighter neon color in the outfit overall. Even in even within the gloves themselves, like I could even see like the gloves in Mickey's hands. They could even be like a little bit of a kind of like a dark, not darker, but more like neon color, like a neon purplish tone. Like overall, just to kind of echo that car. For the shades, let's take a look here. And those shades were also sourced images, Vecteezy too?
No, the Mickey shades, no.
Oh, the Mickey shades. Okay, so those are.
Oh, those shades are part of the car. I'm trying to like take them off, remove them.
Oh,
I was
okay,
in the
so.
process of doing that.
Oh, so the shades are part of the car, or I'm sorry, were the shades with the original Vecteezy file, or are
Yeah,
these
it
like
was with the original.
Oh, okay, so they're part of that file, and then you kind of used it on Mickey's, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to remove them off.
On those? No, I don't mind it. For me, I feel like this could definitely work if it was like kind of scaled down a little bit more. So kind of more at an angle. So if they were slightly more rotated so that the bridge of the glasses looks like it's kind of on like the nose a little bit more, I think that'll help.
Okay.
But I know it's going to be a little challenging. Yeah, that's right, because of the height of the eyes. So we might have to kind of squeeze in some of those shades a little bit more and increase the height. So you could modify some of those proportions a bit to try to match some of Mickey's proportions around the eyes. If that kind of makes sense, because then just to try to get it a little bit closer to his face. Oh, that's right. But then there's a little bit of an overlap issue. So I think we might have to play a little bit more with the scaling and the proportions, and even possibly even ungroup on the right-hand side. Some of those pieces there. Let me actually take out the smart guides. So those might have to get kind of played with a little bit more. So the file is giving me a little bit of an issue there. But we might have to play with it a little bit more. I think the left side should probably be, maybe that the left purple area maybe could be a little bit closer. So just to kind of get it to where it needs to be there. So I'm thinking that could be the option for that. So colors, the shades, a little bit closer on the shades there. And overall, and just in terms of the design, the background shadow, because I know you added that shadow there to create a little bit of the piece. It's interesting because when I look at the car, it looks like that car has a shadow here on the lower left, almost to kind of give an impression that it's kind of like grounded. And because it looks grounded, like it almost looks like it's grounded on the shadow, which makes me want to like see Mickey have a same shadow on the ground, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, I didn't.
And
Couldn't figure out how to do that.
on those,
Yeah.
for that one, honestly, you could also technically kind of create like a shadow here with the pen tool. So the paths. He's mostly ungrouped, isn't he? I'm trying to see if we can get to that shadow. There we go. Like in this section, like if I wanted to create a little bit of a shadow with Mickey, like I would literally kind of draw kind of like this black sort of shadow and arrange them behind just a little bit more. If I really wanted to go to that level, like a shade of a shadow and then put it underneath the foot, which would be kind of like right somewhere right about there. But literally it would have to be like arranged over to the front of it. Yeah, there's a lot going on here, huh? Did you feel like you were having a little bit of a hard time trying to like arrange the Mickey character in different places and kind of like play with the design a little bit?
It's a little difficult, but I would get around it eventually.
Okay. The reason I ask is that because the artwork is one layer, right? And then the shadow is a different layer. Yeah, I could see how it got a little bit complicated, like working with it. I think you did good working with so many different elements in the design. I think for this one, just kind of working with it, yeah, I think separating Mickey out and putting him on its own layer, I think would definitely make life a little easier for you. So like if we took Mickey, edit, copy him, delete that. Oh, yeah, we need to get the. Oh boy. Yeah, there was a lot going on here. Yeah, what I'm trying to do is trying to get Mickey highlighted in addition to that black base of his body. So, and then putting him on his, oh, it's locked, that's why. And, oh boy, let's see. There we go. And then edit, copy, or edit, cut him out of that layer. And then go to like, I can go to my layer menu over here on the right. And then I can say 3-line new layer and call that like the Mickey layer. And then edit menu, paste him. Then I know that Mickey is his own layer. And I could technically like lock the artwork layer and I could make adjustments to his file here as I'm working on it. The thing is that every time I try to select, it's not selecting all the parts. Were you having the same issue as well, by any chance, Angel? Like not everything got selected?
Not
Or
really.
is it, one more time?
Not really.
Okay, so maybe it's just my file in the download. So overall, I think just going back to just like principles, I think it just comes down to like, oh, like making some color modifications onto Mickey. The glass is a little bit lower. And then the shadow, we could add a shadow to make it work around his feet so that he looks like he's kind of grounded with the car. Or we could directly select the shadow itself, whether it's an ungroup, or go to direct selection, which is the white arrow, and directly select the outline of that shadow and kind of position Mickey almost as if he's like in the foreground. Like what would it look like if he was like a little bit closer in perspective, like within the car itself? Oh, and there was an effect added onto it as well, right? Shadow or blur. So, oh, I think that's part of it as well. So you added the shadow there. Okay. Yeah, I think that's what it was. Okay, so that's making a little bit more sense to me. And let's take a look here. So pulling that shadow, setting it off there. t-shirt layer. Turning on the eye for that. Okay. And setting it up that way. And I know you have that background shape going on over here. I'm almost wondering too, you could even do like an implied shadow if you wanted to go to that level a little bit, where if we took some of these elements and kind of stretched them out a little bit more, like almost like they're kind of floating in space a little bit, that could even be like an option there too. So if I take my direct selection tool and delete some of those pieces, like what would it look like if it wasn't like a defined edge or the impression of a square? And with the direct selection tool, we can kind of go in and kind of like make some modifications within that. Might have to delete a couple of lines or hide a few here and there because there's a lot going on. Yeah, due to those shadows that are going on in the background. But what in my head, what I'm trying to do is like, oh, what would this look like if there wasn't any of these hard edges and it was mostly just like floating curves. So if I zoom in onto this file, lock it, direct select, delete it. And then kind of make that background a little bit more kind of like random, as it were. Like, I think kind of seeing it more like a floating device as opposed to like an actual defined edge might help the design just a little bit more. Does that kind of make sense there? Like just kind of comparing it to like an actual square versus that. Now I'll give you props, like you're with all the work that in that background would be super complicated for anybody on any level. Like it took me a few extra minutes just to pull that one off, right? So props, and definitely a lot of credit goes to you for making that background work, because this is a highly complex image and to edit that backwards would take a while. So the fact that you kind of work with it, made it work and get like your concept in is good. So I think for me, I would going back to the principles, I would say, oh, I wonder what it would look like if there wasn't like a defined square per se. And maybe that's just me being subjective and that's just my just preference, right? But what would it look like if there wasn't such a defined edge and rather let those shapes sort of imply a frame of a square? Does that kind of make sense a little bit? So, and the way I did that was just go with the white arrow direct selection tool and literally go in and try to find those edges and sort of delete pieces and modify them right down with direct selection level. Okay.
Yeah, I see.
You see where I'm going with that? Yeah. So yeah, so it was really color and slight editing, but I got the concept. I understood where you were going, and you were working with some seriously complex art. And I noticed you were trying to echo the art style with the shadow effect to go with the design. So you make some good choices.
Match as much as it could.
Yeah, no, I think you made good choices. So overall, I feel like it's pretty good. This is a suggestion, okay? But I'm just kind of giving you a little bit of a comparison so that you can kind of see one versus the other, okay?
Okay.
But it was good. I mean, it made me think for a couple extra minutes on average. So, and we're on the second one. So, but overall, I think it's feeling pretty good. And design-wise, yeah, I mean, I think the first one kind of I think back to like Sylvia, where it's like, oh, they're kind of floating around, but there's no hard edges. I think the one that kind of seems to work with a hard edge or line is probably the center one because it kind of looks like sort of comic strippy with that square. And I know that again, it might be a generational thing. I know some people don't mind the square, and other people would like to see it kind of with or without it. So it's super subjective at that point. I would say, it's good to be aware of the two, whether it's one defined versus another that's open. It's always good to have a little bit of idea there. Okay. So, all right. It's crazy to be on the spot, but feel free to kind of make those changes. All right, cool. Thank you, sir. Man, whoo, this is definitely it's good, but at the same time, I forget how critiques put me into critical thinking mode. So, which is really cool. So let's keep it going, guys, and let's see who we got next. And feel free to also make some comments as well, so that we can get a little bit of a visual for what you're thinking. So let's go with Danielle. So we got your design here. Oh, it's okay, no worries. Everyone's always self-conscious. Okay, and we'll take a moment to pull that up. I'll remove comments there. Okay. And so Danielle, which one's your favorite? We'll start with that. Do you have like a favorite one? Oh, you're muted. So
I don't have a favorite one. I feel incomplete, but I do like, I don't know, I like the brown shirt.
okay, so the second one over here. Okay, let's take a closer look at the art. Okay, so you're working with sort of these ice cream graphics. Okay, cool. I see how you're doing that. And these are sweet times with Mickey repeated over and over. Okay, cool. And you have it like as a double there. Pattern here. And I just kind of want to take a closer look at the art up there. And here's like an alternate color option there. So I would agree. I think I like the contrast on the brown shirt because it's a heavier contrast and you see more of the circle and it's like really defined. I agree with Connor. You work really well with your colors too. Like these are really subtle colorways, very earthy, but enough contrast going in there. So I do kind of like the play on it. And I always have to be cautious of my colors on my monitors too, because one monitor is like very different. Yeah, see, that's crazy. Let me go ahead and share this really quick. So my MacBook colors will probably be their closer colors. On one, they look a little bit more creamy. This one, it looks like a lot more pink and brown. So I have to stick to that. So this is cool. Let me get one more look on my piece here. Yellow, blue, and pink. Ooh, I definitely have to be very cautious on my colorways. I'm going to stick to my MacBook Pro for colors. Because in one monitor is coming in kind of pinkish and the other one's coming in a little bit less. So there's less brights on this one. Okay. So if I'm reading this correct, this is brown with pink and what looks like a little bit of a bluish tone. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Ooh, all right. I was almost going to give you bad color options here. Yeah, I like it. Chocolate and, pink and chocolate, brown and pinks, like those color combinations are popular color combos. And I will say, and just in reference to the design, that the ice cream cone looks like it was well executed. On there, was that a Vecteezy or a redraw for those ice cream cones?
A redraw. I traced like another image.
Okay, well, that's a really nice trace of your ice cream cone. So that was really cool. And the detailing is quite nice. So I do like that. And I feel like I want to open an Illustrator, but it's probably going to ask me to download it again. But the ice cream cone looks really good. The font selection too, is also, I'm gonna try
The reason I did select the font too was because the only thing that was really like pointy was like the cone. And so the W kind of like had that like same pointiness.
Yes, I totally see it. So like you're echoing the art style for the font, essentially. So yeah, I totally get that, and it's looking pretty good to me. So that's a good font selection, and I kind of like the curve and the point. So I'm glad you're echoing the art style and getting to that level and getting to that specific level with the detailing. The one thing too I'm kind of thinking about is like is that Mickey is right in the center there, and it almost seems like there could be an element in the background. Did you get a sense of like adding something in the background, or increasing his scale a little bit? Was that something that you kind of thought about?
I was like playing with a ton of things. I was like putting sprinkles back there because I took the sprinkles from like the ice cream, whatever, and I put it back there, but then I think I removed it. I don't know.
Yeah,
Just going back and forth, resizing. I think I did size him down and I never sized him back up.
okay. For me, it's my sense is like, oh, he could be scaled up just a little bit more, maybe like 5 or 10%. But if I'm being nitpicky, that's a good thing, because like the overall look and feel is like moving in a pretty good direction. You know, and then part of me is thinking, oh, I wonder what it'd be like if he actually if something was added to kind of relate to the ice cream. Like, oh, I wonder if there was like ice cream or like a chocolate stain on his pants or on his gloves, right? To kind of show that he was eating it, or around his mouth. That would be kind of fun. It would be a small detail, but almost kind of telling the story like, oh, I'm done eating ice cream, and he just kind of pigged out a little bit, and he's got like, chocolate covered hands a little bit, or ice cream covered hands. I think that little detail would kind of tie things up nicely, almost as if he was interacting with the ice cream and this is the aftermath. I think that would help. I think I might be pushing it, but I don't know if it was around his feet, or some type of like a little bit of drops of chocolate on his feet. But for me, I almost feel like that whole like pink, blue, and vanilla colorway, and kind of like that spill around the hands, like almost as if he just ate it. I think that might kind of tie things up a little bit nicely. It might be a small detail, but it might be enough to kind of put it all together and tie in to the overall image. So that's a quick fix. That could be like using your brush tool, and adding like a little bit of a watercolor brush, if that makes sense. We can kind of go through that a little bit and add it just for sake of time, just so I can add some commentary. But watercolor brush, some slight marks around the gloves, around the pants or the feet, almost as if like he's trying to hide the fact that he ate ice cream, would be kind of cute. And I felt like that might be something there. But overall, I think it's great. This definitely is looking like a piece for your portfolio. And I get it, like the variations are different. And I do think that this brown was probably like the best one for sure. So I like that. I like that concept. Feel free to make that little addition to it, and see where that goes, and maybe increase the scale. Sometimes you could even play with the background a little bit, very lightly. Who knows? But I'll probably I'll let you kind of think about that a little bit and see where that goes. For me, I always think about background elements and things like that, but I like quick fixes too. So for me, just adding that detail would tie it all in and be really fun at the end of the day. So, but yeah, I think you did really well. And it looks like you positioned each one pretty well. Those ice creams were positioned pretty much one by one, and you were kind of eyeballing it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So yeah, the level of detail is really cool, and I do get a sense of movement and motion with it. So you definitely put in the time, and it's very cute for sure.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you could even expand on that too. Like if you ever like do like a packaging class, you could even like make like a whole like assortment of like packaged goods with this kind of artwork. And I can imagine like a cookie line or an ice cream line and playing with the, and or even going like vintage ice cream and adding the vintage character. But it's cute and I really like the detailing overall in the piece. So looking good. Well done.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. I really like. Very cute. So very, very cool. So guys, really quick, are we good for additional comments? I know I'm kind of taking a minute here, but are we good to keep going? Or do we need or we want to take a quick 5-minute break? Anyone? We'll do a quick vote here. Anyone want to do a 5-minute break? You can give me a little thumbs up emoji. Okay, we got a couple of folks out there for break. All right, let's do this. And then most of the class is kind of like more want to keep it going. Let's do a quick 5-minute break, okay? And then we'll add a couple more comments. If you're still working, let's continue to work on the design, right? As you're saving and updating, it does kind of update on my end. So if you still want to make some changes to the design while we're doing and working on commentary, feel free to continue to work on it. As long as you're saving to the cloud and it's automatically updating, then we'll be able to see it, okay? So we'll do a quick 5-minute break. Once we get back, it's 8:08, 9, 10, 11, 12. At 8:12, we'll resume, and I'll try to add some commentary so that we can see with the rest of the class how things are going there, okay? And then we'll kind of take it from there. And we may push until Thursday to start on the next lesson, but I want to get as much commentary in as possible with everybody in the class. Okay. All right. Let's take a 5-minute and we'll be back at 8:12. All right. Continue. Okay. So we're going to move forward, guys, and we're going to jump to the next design. So Dominic, we'll go with you next because I was kind of previewing the next design that was available. So that would be shared with you. On those? Oh, well, it's kind of jumping around. But we'll go with you, Dominic, so I can give you some feedback. And then I'll take a look at it really quick. So I'm going to jump to my Adobe Illustrator. So really quick, Dominic, you can hear us, right? How's your mic sounding?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So I'm getting the sense that we still got some work to do on it, right? So what are your thoughts?
I was messing with it because I wanted to change the colors and stuff, and I don't know. I guess it's saving now as like this when I was messing with it, other than the original that I was doing with it.
Okay, so then
because it's doing like that cloud, because I was saving it for that cloud. So I don't know if I have to like resave it with the old way it was, or
if that helps, then go for it, because the font did change from the looks of it.
Yeah, because like I was trying to change the color of the shirt and stuff like that, and I just been messing with it. And then when I went back and I noticed because if you look in the cloud, it showed like 2 different saves, and one was the original save, and now it's showing this.
Let's take a look. And trying to see here. So then if we go back and reverse the save a little bit and take it back, would it be easier to, like, do you have a different version on your screen, on your computer at home?
Yeah. Let me see if I could maybe resave it for what I did originally.
Well, just to save time, do you have like the original concept that you're working on your screen right now? And then we could share your screen on Zoom?
No, I'm on my iPad and I have that on my computer. Like they're 2 separate, so I could do it at the same time.
Oh, they're 2 separate. Okay, so then, yeah. So right now your computer has that original file, which is the final one, which is the one that you want to submit.
Yeah.
Okay, so then do you want to work on that and get that out to me, and then we'll follow up on Thursday?
Yeah, sounds good. If that's okay with you.
I'm okay with that. Yeah. I mean,
Okay. I had a question though about that. So I know
Yeah.
we're uploading it right now on the cloud for you to see,
Mhm.
but in the actual assignment, like on Canvas, do you want us uploading to that too, or?
Well, tonight was just this. When we're
Oh, okay.
done, then it's going to be to Canvas directly.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So tonight
All
was
right.
just an opportunity to share your file so I could see what's going on in real time, and then I could just see across the screen like where everyone's at. So it's but if your file is at home on that computer, then we'll follow up for Thursday with those original concepts that you were working on.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll try to get it fixed. I don't know. Like I said, I was messing with it, changed the color of the shirt, and it just started saving it as that.
On those, it's probably, it could be a settings with the iPad versus like on the home computer. So I don't want to tweak the original. So we'll go with whatever is on your computer at home. And if you want to submit that to Canvas, you could do multiple submissions and I could download that way. Either or is fine. We'll go
Okay, cool.
directly to Canvas and make that easier for you.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, no worries. Okay, so let's keep it going, guys. I can see also here on my original desktop. So let's see. So we got t-shirt in. Let's take a look. James, let's go to yours really quick. And I'll try to see if I can download your file. I'll make a copy. And we'll see what your design's at. Okay, very cool. I'm gonna hit tab so I can move some of the tools temporarily. Do you have a favorite, James, so far from the designs that you got?
It's the black and white one on the far right. That's the one I decided to go experimenting with the most.
Okay, so you want to go with more of this one over here on the right hand side.
Yeah.
Okay, now you can show all of them, right, on your portfolio. Okay,
Yeah.
So that's totally fine because then you can showcase a little bit of the colors and things of that sort. So, and I know I kind of use yours as a demo. So a couple things that I'll say is that I like the lines added to the book because I remember that was something that the original one did not have. So that texture is really cool. So I dig that. And you went with the World of Disney. So Mickey Mouse welcomes you to the World of Disney. So that's working pretty good too. I think at this point, for me, it's more about like the scaling of Mickey because there's a lot of negative space from the ear to the top of the word or the bottom of welcome, right? So, a couple of options would be, could we like scale it down and scale like the overall graphic down so that he looks a little bit more like pronounced, right? And then the overall graphic kind of goes up in a sense. So it's a little bit more to that level. The other thing could be like we could just kind of reverse it and scale up Mickey. And I know that he's not quite grouped, but if I go to the layers panel, what would it look like if we actually like increase his scale? And I think that would be these pieces here. No. Let's take a look. But if we were to increase him overall, I think we might be able to get something interesting from the design too. So if we do like a multi-shift and hold down the shift key. Oh, his eyes are missing, but and then kind of scale them up a little bit just so that that negative space is filled in a little bit. That's kind of my sense about that. So I'm thinking like, could that be a possibility there for scaling him up so he's a little bit more pronounced? And then, call me crazy, but what would it look like if he's sort of hovering and there's no shape per se, but rather, what if the shirt is the container in and of itself, if that makes sense, right? So you're kind of creating like an implied sort of shape, and we don't see so much of the background, but everything that he's in looks kind of like the text is kind of giving us the impression. You could almost kind of sense or feel like there's like an implied frame. Does that make sense? And kind of seeing it as that. So to me, it's kind of like, oh, okay, like, what would that look like if it was sort of like that implied sort of shape? And there's so many different variations that you can kind of go with, like, it's really interesting because, whenever you're designing, there's like, you're thinking about the customer, you're thinking about the buyer, you're thinking about like the age group, right? And then to some degree, the person wearing it, but then at some level, you're also thinking about like the buyer that may be purchasing the design and running it for production, right? So for me, I'm kind of thinking about like both hats a little bit, like, oh, like somebody wanting to wear it, and then thinking about like, oh, this would be like a relatively affordable shirt to produce too, right? So it's like good for the buyer, higher profit margin, also a pretty good design for me to see as well, if that makes sense. So it's almost kind of like I have different hats on when I look at the design overall. There, highlights. So there's a little bit of that, and that could easily carry over into green. That could, easily carry over into blue. Like I kind of like how like the feel of this for the blue, almost kind of like there's like a little bit of a background is kind of flying in there, almost like the land is sort of like an implied land, but the sky is like open a little bit. It's almost kind of like I'm freeing you from the shape itself and just making an attempt to see like, oh, well, what would it look like if Mickey was just kind of floating in that space? And what would happen if we actually made him even like an even greater focal point? And what if he was like the star of the show? Does that make sense? So people love the character so much that if we've seen t-shirts where he's like absolutely like enlarged onto that shirt, right? So the bigger he is, the more people see, the more they get to share. It's almost like he's larger than life. So it's almost like the scaling of green over here feels like very natural, and we're almost getting there with like the black and the grays too. And what would it look like if he was kind of like this larger than life character that really like dominated the book and the screen overall, So there's a few variations of it. You could do World of Disney and have like the flowers like kind of floating around it, as it were. We can do a variation like this. At the end of the day, it's really like a preference. But if you're showing this to like a designer or to art director, then you're saying, oh, I can work with different color options. I can work in a one color. I can convert it to one color. So if we use all three of these in, let's say, your portfolio, you're basically saying, I know how to work with color. I know how to work with scale. I know how to work and convert it to a one color design if we were trying to make budget and save and have a budget and bring it down to that one color. Does that kind of make sense a little bit? So the framing device kind of started. I kind of like where it was going, but then I'm thinking, well, no, like we can actually like remove that framing device and like go all the way larger. So, the gray one has like no background borders, the green one as well. We kept it for the blue one just to kind of ground the book a little bit, to see it as if he's like sitting on something. And we still kept like that world of Disney there a little bit. Okay. So for me, I'm just kind of giving you some options, getting you to think about scaling, making more of a greater focal point, okay? And just kind of looking at it from a distance from afar and taking that into consideration, okay? So does that kind of help and make sense a little bit?
Yeah.
On those. So again, take it with a grain of salt, right? Compare the two, like, do you see a difference here versus over there, right? And play with it, sleep on it, see it with a fresh lens. I always like the implied sort of framing device. So there's like the literal and then there's applied. It all depends on each piece of artwork and how and the designer and the viewer's perception of it. Okay, so a couple of ideas here. I'll definitely do like a little save as here. So then I'll have that floating around as an option. Okay, and Talbook artboard. I'll save this under GDSN 164 options, and I'll save that under my file, and let's take a look here. And it's getting saved right now. And then continue, option, save. Okay, and then I'll copy the link there for you, James, and here it is in the chat so you can like retrieve it. I send it to you direct. Okay? That way, if you want to pull it up and download it, it's in the cloud ready for you and you can open it up. Save yourself a couple of minutes there. Okay? And that's always nice to have. So something to kind of take into consideration there. All right. And let's take a look. Did it request access? I think it does. Let's take a look. And while you're doing that, I'll unlock it so then it kind of pulls up. Request for access? Okay. Cool. Okay, so you should be able to jump in there and set it up. And then Connor, I think yours had the same thing too, where it was like requesting access. So when you shared the link, so I had to request access and kind of like reopen it up again.
Yeah, it's still denying it for some reason. So I sent you the Illustrator file via email if you want to try that.
Perfect. We'll go that direction too. So we'll go ahead and try that out. On that note, I'll pull up yours next, Connor, so we can kind of make some comments there. So let me go ahead and open up my email.
Okay.
And go that direction. Let's take a look here. Okay, here we go.
I just thought the fonts, are they an issue?
It could be, but we can even share your screen to save time. I think that'll probably be better.
Okay, yeah, one second. Let me grab it real quick.
Okay, and then I'll try to download it in the meantime and see where we're at with that too. So let's see. Okay, download. Open up the file. Yeah, it looks like the font is definitely having a little bit of an issue there. But let's take a look here. But it's essentially the same design with some different color options. So we could definitely share your screen and look at that, if that helps.
Okay, one sec.
And let's take a look there. But I will say that the colored option does look better. So out of the two, probably the that color, I think it's like the neon sort of pink, it looks like.
Yeah, so, and for some reason, I'm trying to open up the Illustrator file and it's the old version. So I had to go back and just get a screen grab of the cloud version, which is this one. So,
Oh, okay, no worries.
yeah. So this is the most up-to-date one. But I was, you mentioned the color version. I like the white version, but also the black one too. But
And I even see it like in my file,
Mhm.
on the one that I have, the colored version, the white background is not there. So so looking at it from the original, yeah, the white and the black, I kind of like the black actually.
Yeah.
Just because there's more contrast happening in it, the outline. It gets a little tricky too, because if we like, it's technically like a black lettering or black Mickey on more of a darkish gray shirt.
Mhm.
So if we were producing that, it would definitely be more of a grayish, almost kind of like a dark heavy gray on like a solid black,
Mhm.
for the shirt design to work. And we're going way ahead, but like if it was a black shirt, black ears, it wouldn't work. But it does remind me of a couple of designs back in my Loungeflies days where the t-shirt, like if this design was exactly as you see on screen, then when we go into production, we would need to make sure that the shirt was the same color as on screen, which would be more of like a dark gray or heathered gray.
Right.
And in order to offset the black. So the black, if that shirt would be successful with the right color t-shirt, gray, which means you would be shopping everywhere to find the right fabric, feel, cut, and color. But if you knock it out and get it just right, then it's a hit. It would be a hit of a shirt. And I know it because we had a season, we called it the Black Label season.
Mhm.
And I had worked closely with the art director to match the catalogs with the productions of the shirt, because he's like, man, if we don't show in the catalog that it's a gray and it doesn't print as gray, we're gonna lose the sales because everyone's gonna think it's black on black. So he was basically be like, let's make sure that we get the right tone of gray. And I said, okay, well, I need the shirt that the one that you created, and I'm gonna take it to the print shop and I'm gonna match it to your final shirt, but you got to get me the final shirt first. And that was over blacks, right? Gray and black, because we wanted to match those colors up perfectly. So I don't know why. I guess I was traumatized by that project because if I flash back to it, I was like, oh man, we got to make sure that the gray is gray and the black is black. I'm like, wait, that triggered me a little bit. So I was like, oh, but when done right, it would be a hit. So
Okay.
so I think that would make sense. So and then the white is obvious. Like I think the white, the same thing goes for the white, right? Because if it's white face, white background, white shirt, it could work with that black outline. I think it would work okay. But if it was a light gray, then it could also work successfully too. So,
Okay.
and then the pink, I guess on my cloud version, when I opened it, I guess the white got deleted. And so all we saw was pink coming through it.
Yeah.
So, so that could even be a potential option too.
Okay.
As well. But I would say if I had to pick two of the strongest ones, I would just say, the white and the black as options. And if I had to pick one, probably the black would make make greater sense for that.
Okay.
So
So just change the ears and the rest of the face to gray then, right? To match the shirt color.
if you
Right.
want to match it, yes, I would
Okay.
say if not, I think it looks better if it was like black with that tone of gray
Okay.
to offset it, and I think it would work pretty decent too.
Okay.
To set that up. So yeah, I'm okay with it. As long as when you're showcasing it or showing it, you're very aware that like your intention is to have like a different tonal tee with a darker gray. So the shirt and the fabric would be different there. But in terms of design, focal point, everything, it's like, and redraw and text and framing device, focal point, color, it's like it's working out pretty well. It's feeling pretty balanced to me.
Sweet.
So it's looking good. So
Sweet.
yeah, good run through. And it just as I look at it, yeah, black, white, they're pretty strong. So fun design overall. So, and then I'm just kind of analyzing the shades a little bit, just getting a last feel for it. So looks good. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
So well done. Looks good. All right, cool. All right, guys, let's keep it going. I'm gonna close this out and then take a look at some of the additional designs here in Adobe Illustrator. So let's see, where's my back to meeting, share screen. Okay, let's keep the ball moving. Here we go. And you guys are doing a really excellent job too. Like, I'm feeling really good overall about some of the overall work that I'm seeing here. So that's great. Okay, let's take a look. Alex, let's take a look at this one. And we'll see what we got going on here. I'm gonna make a copy. So then that way, let me ignore the graphic. Hopefully it's not a JPEG laced into it. Okay. All right, very cool. So, so Alex, it looks like you're still working on this. The main image is, am I right there?
The main image is, yeah, that's what I was gonna use. I was still trying, yeah, also that right there. You see how there's like a yellow spot? I don't know how to make that transparent. I was having a little trouble.
So really quick, so is this a redraw or is that just a background image that you found?
The image is the background that I got from the website you told us about.
Oh, okay. And did you get a chance to open that file and edit it out? I'm trying to see what's happening with
No,
that.
I don't think I did.
So it was just like a drag and a drop, right?
Yeah, it's a drag and a drop.
So in this instance, we would definitely need to open the Vecteezy file and then copy and paste it, because it's I won't be able to make an edit towards it.
Yeah.
So let me take a look here. Does not link. Okay, devices, embed. All right, let's work some magic here. Okay, 2, 3. I want to see if I can retrieve this really quick. Okay. I think I'm running a little bit slow here on my computer. Okay, so let me go ahead and share screens really quick so we can see what we got. Okay, so we got this image. we're gonna need to download this. All right, wait a few seconds. And then you have a zip folder here. So you click onto that. On the lower left or upper right if it's Safari. Let's see here. And then once that folder opens, we should see the downloads folder here. Double click it. And technically you want this one here, which is the .eps file.
Mm-hmm.
And that one, if you right click and open with Adobe Illustrator. So right click Adobe Illustrator, then it should open in Adobe Illustrator, or you can go to File, Open Adobe Illustrator. It's giving me a message saying any scaling will be done. And I should have a vector of that graphic, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So the EPS file. And now you can basically like edit it, make adjustments to it. You can open up your t-shirt templates. Where's that t-shirt template? I think I have Lakers version, but I'll delete that just so for the sake of time. I got 3 t-shirt templates here. I take my layers panel. You can say create new layer, California. And basically you can select this artwork. You can say edit copy, edit paste, or edit cut. Go to your t-shirt template. And then from your t-shirt template, you can say edit paste. And because it's so large, then you can scale it down and hold down like that shift key to maintain the graphic. And essentially here you would need to just go to your layers panel and unlock the t-shirt layer, because the t-shirt layer here that's flashing, that's the t-shirt layer. And you could technically, after you copy your graphic, you could make the t-shirt the same color as that background. So if I click onto the t-shirt graphic and use this tool called the eyedropper tool. So eyedropper tool looks like this, like literally like a liquid eyedrop tool.
Yeah.
If you click onto that and then take the tip of the highlighter or the tip of the eyedropper and click onto that object, then you can color your shirt in the same color as that background. But don't be aware, you have to basically highlight the shadow layer so that you can get the shadows selected, and then you have to kind of like also click the shadows
And then decrease. Right?
and make it just a little bit darker so that you get this like sort of silhouette or dark silhouette over the shirt. Now I can basically delete that square if I want to. I can select the California graphic. I can move it into the shirt about 4 inches from the neckline, give or take. And then start to implement your Mickey graphic onto that image. So edit copy, edit cut, edit paste. Really large, so make that smaller by holding down the shift key. And we can start thinking a little bit about how we can start bringing that graphic into effect for Mickey. overall. So some of the things about that graphic is that it has what looks like kind of like some distortion. Let's see if I can pull that up really quick. Oh, it's kind of blended into it. But you can kind of see in the graphic, it has kind of like a little bit of like a distortion built into it. And that's like its own little layer. Oh, I had it clicked on. You have to be like almost like very careful to like pull it out. But you can kind of see it on the right-hand side over here. That distortion is basically there to kind of create that effect of like, you know, raggedy, worn down. It's essentially a distortion. You can keep it if you want to keep it, or you could definitely move it off to the side and work with like the pure artwork by adding the Mickey graphic onto it. And then that kind of echoes the art style a little bit because it's not as distorted than most. And you can kind of play with that graphic there and set it up that way. Kind of taking from a couple of other ideas from the class, you know, like think about ways to add on to Mickey. You know, what would it look like if he had shades? What would it look like if he had you know, maybe like a Hawaiian shirt? What would it look like if he was holding onto a skateboard and, you know, skating on Venice Beach? Anything to kind of make the character look like he's in that environment, or is adding to the story, or you're creating a story that he's in a California beach somewhere. Will always make the design more personal and a bit more unique for the viewer, right? Buyers, you know, buyers of any character or anything that they're really passionate about, they'll know when like details matter, right? So because nowadays, you know, people are so, you know, with just computers and phones, like we can literally pause and look at scenes from films and movies with like crazy high accuracy and high level of resolution, that anything less than like what's like shown to a viewer is almost like an insult to them, believe it or not. And so I'm always a big believer of like of assuming high intelligence of the viewer, and just assuming that they know and they can see the details as I see those details, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, think about that. Like that's storytelling at the end of the day. Like if it's Mickey at a California beach, what can we do to add to the story, right? And what can we do to to make it evolve and evolve the graphic? So anytime you're pulling a graphic on Vecteezy, and this is for everyone in the class, always ask yourself, like, how can I like evolve the picture? How can I evolve the background? How can I, you know, push it forward with a Mickey character or any drawing for any project? And how do you push that story a little bit further in the background or in that image? When you start thinking on those lines as an evolution, instead of a standalone, like you're adding and contributing and pushing it forward, the story and the image, then you'll always get good work as a result. Okay.
Okay.
So I like the concept. I think it's a good start, but I think there's still more storytelling to be said. And so think about adding to the story by adding to Mickey a little bit more and seeing how he fits into that space, beach, outdoors, sun, screen, you know, like, you know, what would be a cool way to make him look like he's actually there to a greater level and add to the story of the image. Okay.
Okay.
So those are a couple of concepts there. I'm recording it, so if you always want to go back, you can refer to it a little bit there. Okay. But those are just a couple of tips that kind of make the design evolve just a little bit further out.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that was very interesting about the what was it, the EPS file thing? Because I do have it too. I just didn't know how to open it. I don't even know if I can open it with Illustrator. But now that I know, I'm gonna go back and edit it.
Yeah, and that's EPS means encapsulated postscript. So
Okay.
it's technically like an Illustrator file, but it's more universal to the earlier versions. So EPS files is kind of like the file format we save if we have like Adobe 2019, 18, 28, 17, like any earlier versions. EPS files are really good for that. And so that format also opens Illustrator as well. Illustrator is the .eps files. So sometimes you might see an AI file, sometimes you might see an EPS file. EPS files, think of it as same as .ai files or Adobe Illustrator files that you can right-click and open in the program.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. I just opened it right now. All right,
Cool.
cool.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah, not a problem. All right, it's a good concept. I like the idea. So we just want to evolve it just a little bit.
I'll evolve it.
Very cool. All right, keep it going, guys. Lot of good stuff I'm seeing tonight. So, really good stuff overall. Let's keep it going. Let me share my screen to Illustrator again. Yeah, I would say this semester the work is a lot stronger. So definitely want to give you guys an applause. I think we're down to two or three more. Let's take a look. T-shirt project. I don't see the name on this one. So hopefully I can get a quick claim on it. Andrew, okay, Andrew, this is yours, right? Okay, I'm gonna make a copy of it. Okay. So Andrew, let's take a look. Oh, there's some fonts that are missing. Okay. All right. No worries, Alex. Very cool. Okay, so so the fonts might be off a little bit. So hopefully that's not an issue there, Andrew. So, but I think they're pretty accurate. Okay, let's take a peek here. Oh, the Mickey Mouse one is the one that's giving us a little bit of a font issue. Okay, so just out of curiosity, Andrew, which one is the... No, it's not your fault. It's the fonts don't translate. And so sometimes the computer can ask you if you want to find it. But we could technically outline it if we wanted to, but I'm not gonna worry about it tonight. But I'm just curious to know really quick, which one is the favorite, so we can kind of zoom in a little bit.
I like the purple one.
So
the purple one's my favorite right now.
Okay, now I have like two different frames. Is that intentional?
Yeah, that's intentional.
Okay, so I just wasn't sure if it's the computer or if the cloud file was having issues downloading on my end. Okay, so that's in the artwork folder here. So the first thing is the whole like blue, dark blue. Trying to get that to be a little bit more consistent there. So I want to add okay, gotta be careful not to go too dark. Okay, I'm gonna need to increase black. Okay, to like 15%. Okay. Okay, a little too much K. And definitely don't want the black outline. I just want a little bit more of a natural grayish tone. Just to kind of play with those colors. Okay, so that's feeling a little bit more comfortable to me. Okay, so we got two framing devices, and you were saying that was like, that's kind of the look and the feel, Andrew. That was the intent of the design, is to have multiple frames.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was my intention.
All right, so let's see how we can make that work. So the drawing of the character is good. So I like the redraws. And these are live trace or pen tool?
Oh, it was a pen tool.
Okay, so we're using the pen tool to create those images, right? So that definitely took a minute,
Yeah, it's
especially with all the like the layered pieces there. So I can kind of see where you're going with that. So I'm kind of catching a little bit of like the background. I like how the Mickey graphic has sort of like this, it kind of reminds me of like neon. Like in some films, there's kind of like this sort of like 3D effect or neon movie effect where you kind of see like two different colors at the same time. It kind of reminds me of neon in a way, or 3D like glasses a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm getting, so that kind of like a distortion. It's almost kind of reminds me of like a screen distortion in a way. So I kind of like that feel of it. And then let's see here. I'm gonna lock the shirt so that way I'm not getting any of the additional pieces. So I wanna just take some of the shadows. Command 2. So I just want the artwork to kind of stand on its own. So in this, and then there's like a little bit of an element down there. Maybe that's an extra square. Clear the object. Come on, let's see, delete. Okay, so are we going for like a more art gallery feel, or is there like a shirt or a style that you're getting like a little bit of inspiration from?
I kind of wanted to do it like a art gallery feel.
Okay.
But I don't know if the 2 framing devices was, now looking at it, I don't know if it was the best idea.
Well, the 2 framing devices could work if it was has a little bit more of an intent. Like if it's I always look at shirts themselves as like a wall or a frame in and of itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like to me, I almost think of it like a frame. Like to me, shirts are like frames to a degree, and they could be frames for this shirt, or they could be like a wall for a design, which could justify like the picture in it. So there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of break it down, whether it's with or without a frame, right? If it's with a frame, then it's almost kind of like, oh, okay, like do we want to keep certain things like the black outline? Is it just a white square and have it look a little bit more modern and have it be like no black frame, but just a white square on it? Do we give a black outline to just make it stand out that a little bit more? Everything kind of varies. Or is it a darker shade of the shirt in and of itself? And that could be a little bit of an option. Is it a shadow? There's a lot of variations here on where it could go overall. So, you know, for me, I mean, I like subtleties, but let's go with black. Let's just be like completely like stark about it and see how this looks like. Take out the black outline of the shirt here and just see it for what it is. Yeah, for me, that whole like 3D effect or that distortion effect is what's like giving me a little bit of an inspiration. And it just makes me wonder, like, what can we do to kind of make it work? So distortion, 3D effects. And it's not a glitch. It's oh man, there's a name for it. It's almost kind of like a glitch. That's what it is. Okay, here, let me share my screen. That's what it kind of reminds me of. because of the blue and the pink backgrounds. It kind of reminds me of like a distorted. Does that kind of make sense a little bit?
Yeah.
So that's the sense that I'm getting from it. So there's a lot of directions that graphic can go towards, right? Like it could easily go in the direction of something like this, which if we were to kind of do something like that and like use it in the image, then we would have to like push it that much further. And again, it's super subjective, and you know that would be the closest thing to like a similar concept that I'm thinking about on a white background that could potentially work. But like very obvious, more of a focal point, right? Like it's really playing that effect further. So then the question is like, oh, how do we create that? You could technically like literally go in and like recreate that in Adobe Illustrator by redrawing it piece by piece, or we could try to push some effects in the system that much more and see how we can do that. So there's a couple of ways that this can be done. Like it looks like whoever designed this had 3 different shapes, and they may have distorted it in Photoshop and brought it in and kind of created that effect. So, oh man, it almost seems easier to do in Photoshop if that's the case. But that's kind of like the feel that I'm getting from it if we were going to be like a little bit more intentional. So literally we would go in and take like that pink background, use my magic wand tool to kind of grab those pieces, as it were, and try to like distort it or recreate pieces of it by using like something called a Gaussian blur tool, like mixed in within the design. So yeah, that would take it to a whole nother level in order to do it. And let's see if I can actually do like a raw cut of it, like on the spot, because this is something that would definitely take a minute and will push us to like advanced level. So, you know, if I drew a bunch of like squares, so to speak, in the same manner as this design, I'll just use like green as an example. Then in this situation, what I would do is basically try to recreate some of those pieces that I see here. And try to like mark them up a little bit. And then I would just kind of like quickly experiment with those pieces and just kind of ask myself like, okay, you know, if I took this, added in there into the design, you know, maybe it kind of made things a little bit thinner, skinnier. Just play with the ear a little bit and see what that looks like. And select those squares and go to like the effect menu. We could go to effect menu, and under effect menu, there's a series of different tools. And we haven't talked about this, right? Because this would hit us into the revert level, but you could technically go to like zigzag effect to your effects menu and create kind of like almost like a blur, it looks like. So warp, filter, round corners, drop shadow, rasterize, pathfinder, free distort, punk twist, zigzag, roughen, stylize, round the corners, effect gallery. Yeah, we can go to effect gallery. And in effect gallery, it kind of opens up a series of different like additional styles. Things like glowing edges. Oh man. almost kind of like a water paper effect. To create a little bit of the blur. But it would be like so rough. Charcoal, no. Brush strokes. Oh man, this is very on the spot, but maybe a water paper. Okay, that. No. But it gets stopped at the edge. That's why. Okay. And I basically would try to like really try to see if I can get a almost kind of like a drop shadow feathered edge. Yeah, it would. This would probably make more sense in like a Photoshop. Artistic, watercolor, spray, diffuse, ocean ripple, pixelate, torn edges, glowing edge, texture. It's the same thing that we just saw before. Blur, Gaussian blur. Yeah, the Gaussian blur probably makes a little bit more sense. But I would literally have to get way more dramatic in the pieces and blur it even more in order for that effect to take root. Or use the same effect and see if that kind of creates it. Effect, Gaussian blur. Hmm. Three, two, and then distort and glitch it. Yeah, that would take me. This would definitely be like something that would take longer, and probably makes more sense maybe to build in like Adobe Photoshop. Where literally I would have to take pieces and then move them and then add like blurs to the end of it in order for that effect to take place. So it's almost like, it almost kind of looks like one effect here, another effect there, and adding to the glitch there. Man, this would be. And then I get this preview window that kind of opens up and it would show me like, almost kind of like an effect going on there. So 2 layers, one over the other, glowing, and one effect is a little bit more defined than the other. But then I would literally have to cut out different pieces and distort that even further in order for that effect to take place. So it's it definitely looks like a series here. And I would literally have to piece it together like one piece at a time, which would take, it would take time, but it would be a question of like, if that's the original intent of the design. So yeah, I can see that being a possibility, but then we would literally have to like cut it and set it up. And now I'm like, now my brain's like all going into like over time, just kind of think it out a little bit. So we literally have to go in with different pieces and then use like the Pathfinder tool to cut it out. And then Pathfinder is like another tool which is used to kind of like cut or divide pieces of a shape.
Mhm.
And once it sort of divides those pieces, then it sort of deletes each section. And you could technically like take the white and then delete it. And then you can basically like move pieces like forward and backwards. And you would have to do that like bit by bit, piece by piece almost. Just to get like a little bit of an effect happening in there. And then the question is like, is that even gonna work if I create a new layer? Call this my glitch. And is that even gonna be like a thing or not? Yeah, this will definitely take me to the next level. And then where is that layer? Is another question. So that one is like right here, which is this path. Yeah, man, this would definitely take me like a couple minutes just to kind of pull it off. But arrange it to the back. And then the black is like right there. Yeah, this would. Basically, I'm trying to get it to arrange the graphics so that it's behind, but the blue is throwing me off a little bit. And this is a lot just for me to kind of demo it, so, but for some reason it's not allowing me. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna. Oh, is he in a different layer altogether? Okay, this should hopefully get it in there. Oh no, I closed it. Oh no, all right. Well, you get the idea. Oh no. Great, okay. All right, well, that was a sign. So But does that kind of make sense a little bit? It totally crashed on me. Oh my gosh. Okay, but did I help a little bit? I am so sorry.
No, yeah, it did.
So the idea is that it's like if you go for the glitch, it's gonna take a minute to even like recreate the glitch. So for me, that's the first impression that I got for it. So meaning is that if the character is gonna stand out, then it makes sense for the character to be like a focal point. Oh man, that bums me out that thing did not save. Is it in my files? Let me double check. Oh, there it is. Oh, okay, cool. Yes, okay. Woo, I almost got worried there. But that's kind of the idea. So for me, it's like it could work, but there was a couple things about the shirt design that kind of like threw me off. Like was it I think for me, it's just getting that artwork in there and just getting it to like look kind of glitchy. At the end of the day, let's see if it works. So. And just having it stand out just a little bit more, and even that glitch doesn't even seem like it's gonna work all that well, but having it be like a little bit more textured, I think it's doable. I mean, I like the concept. I think that playing up the background a little bit, like the pinks and the blues, I think could help overall in the design. So whether it's like a glitch or more like some type of watercolor background, I think that could kind of help it a little bit. But whatever it is, like that's kind of like the sentiment that I'm getting from it. I do like the fact that it's kind of like asymmetrical and we're using like a little bit of the framing device, and there's kind of like a heart kind of set up there. So I do like kind of like the minimalist kind of feel where you're kind of going for something like this on the shirt. I think for me, it's like, oh, like can make you be even like a slightly greater focal point and kind of balancing a little bit out of the character versus like the detail of the graphic. So if that's like your frame, let's just say, like, could we increase it? Could we make make it look kind of like an art picture frame on the wall, so to speak, right? And then playing those backgrounds a little bit too. I mean, I like it, but I almost feel like, oh, what could we do to kind of make those backgrounds like enhance even more? I thought a glitch would do it, but it would work, but it's gonna take a hot minute for the glitch for it to be successful. But that's just my twist on it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could do kind of like a neon glow, neon effect, 3D effect using like glasses or what are those, like 3D glasses, I think they're called, right? So, and kind of playing with like images that look like 3D glasses effect that you normally would read on like paper. So that could be, yeah, the red and blue 3D glasses, like playing with those a little bit. Sometimes like that could even be like an idea. What if Mickey's wearing like 3D glasses or something? It depends, because I don't know the original intent of the design or the background. To me, it looks like something, so I ride and I go with that theme. If it's just there because it's a blue and pink and it looks interesting, and that's the general theme, like you want a blue and pink shadow background, then what can we do with the white background to kind of play off blues and pinks, right? Is it an abstract watercolor background that kind of plays into it? Is it going to be abstract shapes that are pink and blue to kind of go with the outline of Mickey? Is it the Mickey ears that are, that are like pink and blue and kind of all over-y? And there's an odd number of them happening in the design, and they're slightly scaled to different sizes. And you're kind of doing sort of like this sort of asymmetrical Mickey pattern of some sort, and maybe each one is kind of rotated, so it looks like they're flying around Mickey, or he's throwing these interesting little patterns or items, so they look like flying ears, but they tend to be pink and blue instead. So there's a lot of directions you can go with it. It's just like, oh, what's your theme, and what's your intent, and what's the fashion feel that you want to go for it. So those are kind of like just initial thoughts playing with it, and how can we make it work in the design a little bit more. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. But that's kind of my impressions and my thoughts. So, you know what I mean? Like, maybe something like that. So it all depends on your theme. I like computer stuff, so I kind of went with the glitch theme, but obviously that went too long. But it's not impossible either. It's just it would take a significant amount of prep and time to recreate that. But would be an interesting concept nonetheless to kind of see that at play. So hopefully that helps a little bit. But yeah, I think the center color works. I think the design works. If we're going to keep the square frame, let's make it one frame, and let's kind of play up the pinks and the blues as a background element and see where we can go with that. And I think you'll have a winner.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Whew, that took me for a cruise. Okay, very cool. Do we got time for one more? I think so far so good. Okay. There's a lot of specifics, but I really want to get a portfolio piece out of this project for everybody. So let's see. Let's take a look at yours, Philip. Okay, and then Nydia, I know we got a couple of concepts there, and then Kaiser I'll email you, Kaiser, that design a little bit, because I know we have two different color options, so I'll make some quick commentaries there to set that up. Okay. And did it open? Make a copy. I hope the fonts don't lose. Oh, okay. So Broadway and Show Gothic. So not available. Okay. All right, so Philip, forgive us on the fonts, but we'll work off the colors. Okay, and let's see if I can try to zoom in on your files over here and get a little bit of a feel. So Philip, can you hear us really quick by any chance? Let's take a look. Or is Philip gone? No, you're there. Okay. So Philip, can you hear us? Oh, okay. Great. Is your mic working or not working?
It works, except kind of noisy background, so,
All right, let's take a peek. So break it down for us, Philip. What are we going for theme really quick? And then I'll try to chime in.
For the first, I was thinking of something simple for the theme.
Okay, so I see some backgrounds, different themes and things of that sort. So outdoor, indoor.
First one was just mostly like the fall season.
Fall season, okay.
And the second one's more like a classic look.
Okay, so more black and white theme. All right, let's take a peek. I really want to see that font up close. And I'm trying to access it on my Adobe Creative Cloud so that I don't lose it. Okay. And I know you had a Broadway font going on there. Okay, it's taking too long on my computer. Okay. All right, so we got a few layers going on here. Do you got a favorite too, Philip? Sorry about that. Like the first one, second one, third one?
Either between the first or the third. The third one is like kind of like a work in progress, but that one looks kind of good as well.
Okay. Well, I'll try my best because the font, I definitely want to see it with the font. So, okay. And it's definitely distracting me too because the font's not activated. Whoa, what happened here?
Yeah, that pink outline for that font thing not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be like, I think just like black.
Yeah, let's see. Is it on screen for your computer by any chance?
I can see it through my laptop. I can see like what you have presented right now.
Okay, let's take a look.
But I have my work on a different computer.
It's not on your computer this evening?
I'm using a laptop for Zoom, and
Oh,
the
for
other
Zoom.
computer is right next to me for work.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, we'll make do, but I know that it's not supposed to have that outline. So I'm gonna just kind of give you some comments here, just purely based on the artwork itself. So I know it's not supposed to be pink on the outline. That's an error message saying like, oh, I'm having issues with the font. So that's the first comment. But in the preview, it kind of looks like it looked pretty decent for what I saw in the previewer. With regard to just this one, I got a lot of locks going on in there. Okay. Okay, there's a few locks going on in there. There we go. Okay. So I'm just gonna look at it purely for the artwork. Well, the background looks cool, and I mean, it does kind of work for it. I think the comments are the same, like, as well, is like, with the Mickey character, what can we do to make him look, to add to the story or evolve the character in the fall space, right? I think that's, for me, like the thing that's like always gonna win, like the storytelling part. Like, how do we make Mickey look like he's in that environment, but also it's contributing to the environment and also impacting him, if that makes sense. So if it's fall, does he have a scarf? You know, if it's fall, would he be having, you know, some type of hat on, right? So what are some things that we could do to just...
I was thinking of probably adding some like leaves, maybe.
Yeah, he can be holding on leaves in his hands, right? There's so many different ways and ideas that we can apply to it. So my comments are the same. Like, if I had to give you a quick comment, I would be like, oh, like, how do we evolve? How do we put him in the story and have him interact in that space, in that environment? And so what can we do to customize him to make him look like he's in that world? So evolving the background, evolving the story, having him participate in some way. That's always going to be the thing that kind of adds more value to any graphic. It's like, how do we take what we got and then add to the story and evolve it to another level? So that would be my comment for that one. Okay. The black and white is probably, I would say, like the simplest of the pieces. So this one is, and again, it goes back to the typography. Like, it all comes back down to typography. So, you know, what would be the image? Like, you know, it's good, it's fine. At the end of the day, it's kind of like, well, the colors kind of work with the image, but, you know, if I had to pick the one, that first one probably makes the most sense because I can get more storytelling out of it. If the center one's about, like, you know, black and white movies or films, like, you can go in that direction, but I don't have enough to kind of like go off of it. It's more like, if it's simple because it's simple, okay, but what can we do outside of color to kind of add to the piece, if that makes sense, and push it just a little bit further, whether it's a classic film piece or adding more geometric shapes just and adding like some type of circular element in the background. I think that would be the question there. This one's cool and interesting. I think the same comments as the first shirt, like, what can we do to add to the story, right? Like, you know, I like the color, I like the background, you know, I'm getting like an 80s retro feel out of it, with the colors and sort of the geometric shapes and the gradients, right? But is it the direction or is it not, is up to you, of course. it's almost kind of like abstract for abstract sake, but then how do we again add the character into that environment? So you know, when we're thinking of stories and storylines, it almost kind of like we almost have to imagine like a theme come from the story, if that makes sense. So and I get it, like we're practicing like pure background, colors, shapes. We're echoing the art style, and I'm totally feeling it, and I see you echoing the art style and the graphic. I would say we're taking it just a little step further. Once we echo art styles and everything's looking like visually like interesting, then how do we go that little extra step and add some storytelling to it? I think that's the Disney difference, they call it, is that when we were designing t-shirts for Disney, in the very beginning stages at Loungefly, we were doing things that were so risque for Disney that they had to call us into their building to have a meeting with us and to basically like explain to us why we're not getting approval. So the story goes is that, and I'll finish it there because I think I have some concepts, but is that we were trying to do things that were so outside of this character that we would get denied to produce it as a product for sale. And then at the end of the day, when they had to call us in and say, look, we don't want you to lose the license, but maybe you need to understand something. And they broke it down to us, and they basically said like our characters cannot look like thieves or be doing inappropriate things that are outside of their character unless it's a specialty item that is specific for a certain store, because the reason is because, and I think I'm almost saying this word for word, is because the moment we insult someone, they're a target for being sued. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And it's sort of like, if you make Mickey look like punk rocker and he's doing something derogatory, then you're insulting people in that group, and then they sue you for defamation. I'm like, it's to that level. It's like, yeah, that's basically to that level. And gosh, I would love to see it, but there was a really hilarious design too, where somebody basically, it was a Snow White one, and it was like supposed to be a funny t-shirt. And all I remember, and they showed us a picture, but they showed like Dopey from like Snow White or something like that, or one of the Seven Dwarves. And basically it was a t-shirt that said like, I love happy endings. And it was like, the character was like winking, and thumbs upping it. And it was like hilarious when we saw the design, right? Because it was like, okay, we know what you're referring to, right? It's a sexual term. But because it said that and they showed it to us, they say, we love it. We think it's funny. We would wear this around the office, but we would never get this. We would never approve this because this would insult so many parents that they would sue us for basically like, how dare you promote, sexuality to kids, right? And they said like, this is why we show this to every company that tries to go outside of the box. And no, we're not going to approve that. And so I was like, okay, I get it. Thank you. I appreciate it. So I kind of understand and why they do what they do. And I'm just kind of giving you guys a little bit of perspective as well, right? Like you can do that in this class, don't get me wrong, right? But if you were going to try to sell that to Disney and get it approved, it would not get approved. It would be like one of those like underground shirts that like you could only buy if you knew the guy or the girl that made that shirt. Does that make sense? So hopefully that helps. And maybe I'll find that shirt's floating around on a meme somewhere, but I just wanted to give you guys some perspective. Okay. Did that help, guys? Did that kind of get you guys there? Okay. So just a couple of practical steps. Okay. I know I have about two or three folks that still need some comments. So I'll email you guys some comments. Is that okay? So I got a few folks that share their files that are in the system. So I'll email you some commentary, okay? And then first thing on Thursday, what we'll do is that we'll kick off the minimalist poster project. Does that sound good for everybody? Because then we're ready to rock and roll. Between now and Thursday, if you got some comments, work on it, put some time into it. But first thing Thursday, we're gonna kick it off. Tomorrow, I'll launch it on Canvas, so you can get a little bit of a head start. You can watch the discussion post, take a look at some of the notes. And then Thursday, we're basically going to watch some films. I'm gonna show you some design samples from students in the past. And we're gonna basically start conceptualizing some ideas for your minimalist poster. And we're gonna take about 2 weeks, give or take, to kind of put that into play. So we're gonna shorten the time, push it a little bit further. And then once we're done, we're gonna go logo mode and start building our logo, and then go portfolio, and we're done. So we got a lot going on, but I'm very confident on the setup. Current project due today, Philip. No, we'll push it till Thursday. So you can make some changes between now and Thursday. And if anyone's watching the recording, you can also work on it till Thursday. Okay. So I think that'll give us enough time. I'm very confident that the minimalist poster will be even easier as the Mickey project. I think the difference is going to be how do you tell the story, right? Like, how do I say more? How do I say a lot with less from the stories that I have? So it's going to be more of a creative project on storytelling, and so the Mickey shirt is a nice task towards leaning in that direction. All right, cool. All right, guys. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Make those changes to your comments. Keep those files in a safe place. Hold on to them, and they will be part of your portfolio, because we want that to be a for sure portfolio piece. Okay. And if you weren't here today and you're watching the recording, please share your file with me. Nonetheless, I still get a notification when you share it after the recording. Okay. So share it anyway, and I'll try to send out some commentary if you catch this before Thursday's class. All right, guys. Have a great night. You're doing a great job, and I will see you on Thursday. Okay. Be safe. We'll see you then.
Okay, I'll see you on Thursday, Professor. Bye.
All right, Laker. Have a good night. We'll see you then. Appreciate it. All right. We'll see you then, guys.
Have a good day, Professor. Thank you
You-
for the lesson.
Oh, no worries, James. It's looking good. So you did a great job. So
Yeah.
I'll see you Thursday.
Yeah. All right.